Welcome back to the Berg Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. With me, Brian, I've got Dan.
Hey, everybody.
And Ford.
Hey, how's it going?
And we're going to talk a little bit today about some successive or some podcasts. We're sort of lining up here in a row, a couple weeks here. And we've been working with our outside branding marketing group on what we're calling a campaign. A campaign of sorts, right? That's a sort of a fancy word for saying like an organized idea.
Nobody has to vote, though.
Yeah, no voting, no actual politics involved. But the synopsis of that campaign is this phrase that we're coming up with, and it's for us, for you, for them, right? So I think we'll dig into that a little bit today.
Yeah, and I think the interesting part is that we've done a lot of stuff over the last couple of years to try and help communicate what we're about here, and we're kind of creating what we'll call an elevator pitch. Like when we started the company, they always said, hey, you know what, you might be in an elevator someday and you're beside someone that could potentially be a client, and you have to be able to drill down to something small, short, and sweet that they will remember about that conversation, because you walk off and you'll never see them again. And I think that's what we're doing with this is we're taking all of our big core values, all of our big why, and trying to make it into something that's catchy and quick that, you're at Wawa and someone asks like, what's it like to work here? This would be something to start maybe the conversation with someone about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the reality is we all walk around with sort of the Berg uniform, right? At times, and I don't know how you guys are, but inside the building, outside the building, a lot of times you can catch me with something with our logo on it, a hat, a t-shirt, whatever it might be. So you do sort of get those questions like, hey, you work for Berg Construction? What's that like? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also about t-shirts, I think that's,
and they also want a free t-shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's funny, Brian, is how much effort really went into this. This wasn't something we came upon quickly and we just decided, hey, let's throw something together. We really looked at it and tried to find like who are we, that we want to explain a little more in depth of who we are, and we went back and forth. There was a few choices. There's a couple things out there that I think we still might get some use out of that we did along the way, that we started to go down a road and we said, okay, that's not exactly what we're trying to convey, and we really tried to zero in on focusing on what we wanted to say and what we wanted to really identify that we value. And I think that when we got to the for us, for you, for them, which frankly was not my first choice, you know what I mean? In
right.
the scheme of things, there was a second one that I really liked, but I struggled with it. And in Ford's elevator pitch idea, we struggled because I would have had to explain it. It didn't stand on its own. And we really realized that for us, for you, for them, stood on its own. It explained exactly why we do what we do, how we do it, and where we do it. It really nailed who we are. It's so much of our values. And when we'll get into each of them real quick, and then our plan is to dive a little deeper into for us today. But when you look at for us, for you, for them, I can make that apply to every one of our core values. And it's not a stretch. It's pretty easy to do it. So I think that's key. And the first time we really roll out a campaign, we rebranded, we've done website stuff. We've really tried to push a social media presence. But this is our first real attempt at saying, like, this is who we are in 2 seconds.
Yeah. It's our first attempt really to tell the story, right? Publicly. I think we do a fairly good job internally of telling the story, making sure people understand who we try to be, at least, right? Everyone has good days and bad days, but who we're trying to be. But I think publicly it's our first real attempt to try and tell people outside the organization our story, or at least a snippet of our story.
We didn't plan it on this way, but let's do this a funny way. Let's approach it that what Ford's going to be for us real quick. And Ford, you just say what you think for us means for us. I'll do for you, and then you do for them.
Sure.
And then we can talk about it.
Yeah,
so Ford, go ahead. What do we mean by for us?
On the spot, Ford.
For us. I mean, I think us, we talked about it earlier. Us is we, us is team. It's a multiple person thing. That's the key to the us part. It's not any one part of the team. It's the group as a whole. That is the point of this. So that word works best in the rhyme or in the little word sayings, but all of our core values have we in them. We always talk in we always talk in team. language on purpose, because that's how we want this to be. It's not an individual game. This is everyone doing their part. We always talk about you do your part and everything works better together. And that's really a short synopsis on the us, just using it as a different word.
It's the summation of everything that we try to do as a unit, right?
Yeah. So when we got to for you, for me, the point really was that it's bigger even than just the us. Because when we view the us, we're talking about, like Ford just said, the team. But as a team, we know how important family is to us individually and how important family is to us as a group. And so we really wanted to focus in on the most important thing we have here with for us, for you, for them is the group. It's all of those things are inclusive. For us, for you, for them. It's an inclusive version of those pronouns.
It's the people. Yeah.
It's the people. And you can't look at our team. You can't look at the us and not realize that you is a part of it. You know what I mean? That each of the individuals that make this team what it is, they have a family and they have significant others and they have kids and they have friends and they have things they like to do. And that's the you. The you is everything that makes, makes each team member a part of this team, makes them who they are. That needs to be valued in the you part of our culture.
Right. Because the you makes the us.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. The them for me, and we might have different interpretations of the them, but the them for me is the everything else. It's our clients, it's our community, it's what happens outside of the us, outside of the team Burke Construction. And I think we put a lot of emphasis on the them internally, right? We recognize some things, in my opinion, pretty well. Our group came from this community. A lot of us went to school in this community. A lot of us were molded and shaped by individuals in this community. And I think one of the things that has stood out to me since I've been an employee here is how much we care about giving back to that community. It reminds me of something that I was sort of taught a long time ago, where and this comes a little bit from a school board member perspective for a second, but how can you expect to get good things out of your resources if you haven't given good things to your resources, right? And for us, that's our community. We've got to support our community. We've got to support our area. We've got to support the schools so that we can get good things out of them, because otherwise we don't get the you, and then the us doesn't exist. That's for me, that's the them.
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation. I mean, as you were talking, I thought of a funny thing that one of the parts of this process, you remember, was we talked about we had to get the why and the what, and that's even early on. It was developing what our branding was going to be way back when, and part of me thinks that the us and the you might be why, and the them is what. You know what I mean? The them is what we're going to do. We're going to do things that impact our community, whether it be in our actual work or from the benefits of that work, or whether it just be that we're purely going to donate our time or our efforts to help the them, So it almost becomes the what. It's the why we're doing it is because we want to, we want to build this team. We want to have an us and support a you. But the what is like the outlet. It's how we help and how we be engaged as citizens, as people, as humans.
The us is a tough one for us to talk about internally, I think, because a lot of times the us sounds selfish. It's like, what's good for us? What's good for Berg? But when we dig into some of what we're talking about right now, at its heart, what we're really asking is what's good for our team. It reminds me a little bit, when I first started working here, nobody really had a title, right? Very few people had business cards. If you had a business card, it just said your name and your phone number and an email address. It didn't say what you did. And part of that for us, and really the campaign in general for me, is sort of an outward expression of what I believe. And Ford, I could be way off base here, but it's sort of what I think is an outward expression of how you saw the organization growing organically. It started with a core group of people. An us, a team, people that you treated like family, that you said, I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to hope that they take care of me. And we're going to go do some cool things. And I hope that provides the opportunity to give fulfillment and empowerment and financial stability to you, to the people that are around you. So, when we talk about the us, it's difficult if you forget where the we us mentality came from.
Well, it's like, we don't titles have only come recently, and it's not even that we use them a lot. It's just it helps with structure. I mean, that's a big thing that we've transitioned a lot here of people that have been here a little bit of time is we've had create structure. Just because it grows, it can't be a flat organization. I mean, I remember we didn't even have an org chart for years because we fought. Well, I fought against it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Ford, think of how many times you had me redraw that org chart to try and make it what it was. And I've since found an org chart version that I like. That's basically just a big amorphous blob.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
sort of a ball.
It's sort of a ball
Yeah,
because that's
right.
what it
There's
is.
no
in a
top,
person's
there's
mind.
no bottom. There's just a group.
We should just sort of expand.
And I think Brian really hit on something there. There's the wordplay of it. You said, and we hoped, it would benefit and provide financial stability for people and for the community. And that's the funny part is I think Ford really did that. I think he hoped, and you can read the book, there's that book, Hope is Not a Strategy, but it was hope because it wasn't the goal. You know what I mean? Like the goal it was never about a number or dollars or size or machines or logos. It was about us. It was about Ford going out and doing what Ford enjoyed doing with people Ford enjoyed doing it with. You know what I mean? And that's the heart of the us. And what was really so crucial to me in this is I said it off the cuff when I said it, and now I've said it so many times, we'll stop growing when we stop being what it is that we are. That's what's so crucial about this for me personally is we need to make sure people understand what the us was and what the you is and what the them is, because it's the reason we're here. It's why we want to do it. It's where we're going. It's who we are, and it's who we're always going to be. And if we can stay true to that, I think that there are very few other places that you'd rather work in this field than here, because that's a great feeling. It takes the pressure off. It makes a hard job easier, and it makes it fun to go to work.
Well, and I think one thing we always have to talk about when we're discussing some of these things too is that, like, if someone hears this and doesn't understand the context or whatever, it sounds a little lofty, and it's, some days we don't get to measure up to it, and some days we're always trying to get there. We've always talked about like just trying to be better tomorrow than you were today type deal. And so, sometimes people get frustrated because they don't think that certain things match up in their perspective to what we're trying to do. And so it's also about, it's helping us remember what we're trying to do on a daily basis, because some days suck. That's just the reality of it. And, during that day or that week that's tough, these are the things that carry you through and get you to the other side versus just being like, I'm done, I'm out, or whatever the scenario might be. It's trying to just, there's got to be something there that's like, okay, we're going to improve, we're going to get better, we're going to go for these things. And so sometimes people have challenges with that. And so I think it's always important to kind of mention that within the group of things, because, yes, we do check people if they don't stay within our core values, but it doesn't mean that every day they're going to hit all the buttons. But
Sure.
If they're trying, that's good. But if they're not doing it, then it's an easy reason for them to not be part of the us.
Yeah. And the us, I think, is in some ways a measurement of who's right for our organization, right? I mean, it's got to be the we. It's got to be the team first.
Yeah, and I think that's also part of what this campaign is to do, is to attract people to join our team because they believe in the same things we do. I'm not saying moral beliefs or any of those, but I'm saying that they believe and want to be in a work environment that we have tried to set up. Some new people that have joined us recently, they're like, oh, the family feel or the whatever it is, but they want to be part of that. That's as important as the technical skills. We always talk about that.
Yeah, and I mean, to a point, you can. It's what is it? 6 words, right? For us, for you, for them. But it can be a guiding light in how you make a decision. Like, is it good for us? Okay. Is it good for you? Is it good for everybody outside of it? Is it good for them? If so, it sort of mirrors the thing that we say. We like to do what we know, where we know, with people we know. And if we can, when we do that, we win. We succeed, and our culture flourishes, and we all do well. And the us, the for you, and the them, they all benefit. So there's some there's a parallel between, for us, for you, for them, and where we know what we know with people we know. You know what I mean? Because it's how we operate. It's how I'd like people to make decisions. It's how Ford has empowered us to make decisions. And it's how I hope we, Brian and I, can allow everyone to make decisions with us. Because when we do that, we're stronger.
Well, something I said and something else that'll probably come out in some of the media, but it was like, it's the triple win. I mean, like, you need all three pieces for it to really be a success. Just for the us doesn't work. Just for the you doesn't work. Just for the them doesn't work. All three of those at all times have to have an element, or otherwise it's a failure at all levels. It's not, we're breaking these apart, but really, it really goes together as one 6-word. It's not a sentence because there's not verbs and stuff in there, but
you see that?
things like that.
Getting into grammar.
Whoa.
We're
only supposed to talk about the for us, but it's kind of impossible not to include the others.
Yes, exactly.
It is. But at the heart of it, at the beginning of it, it sounds better, frankly, to say for us, for you, for them. If we worded it the way we wanted to, it probably would have been for them, for you, for us. And we'd put ourselves last, because we really would like to be selfless. If at the end of the day, we're honest and we're transparent, and I've said this many times, if you don't succeed financially at anything you do, then that's a hobby, not a business. So we have to go out there and we have to be successful. But that's what we hope happens. What I want to happen is to have people want to be a part of our team and want to be a part of what we're doing and believe that there's value in what we do. And I think if we do those things, the third thing is a given. That's already going to happen, because everybody's pulling as hard as they can to do that thing, and you'll be successful. So, but grammatically, we needed to go, or like just the way the sound of it had to be for us, for you, for them, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so we went that way. But I don't want to take away from talking about the for us, because us is a great thing. I mean, this is a great team to be a part of. We got a lot of great people here. And I think everybody owns their piece and takes their part and does their best and makes it a really strong group.
Yeah. I think it's self-evident, but it's not a story we tell well. If you look back a couple of years ago, we sort of sat down and we refined what we thought our core values are, right? What does it mean to be part of Burke Construction? And Dan, you actually mentioned it earlier before we started the podcast, but if you pull up that list on our website, or you look at it where it's hanging on the walls in our building here, all of those things start with we. And I think, subconsciously that was intentional. It was each of those things, we lead, we consider, we take ownership, we learn something, we look for solutions. All of those things are about the unit, the group, the sum of who we are, which is us. It's us. It's Burke Construction.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we are. So, I mean, I hope that this reaches our team. I hope it reaches the us, and I hope it reaches the you, and I hope it reaches the them in a way that it resonates, and people get a really good picture of who we are, and knowing that this is not an act. This is who we want to be. And we're not that every day. You know what I mean? You said about the community, you guys grew up here. I did not. Everybody local, everybody involved, everybody in the us knows that. And it's something I have to work at, because it's part of this community's fabric, the us. You know what I mean? It's so simple as, you see something happen in the community and the community fixes itself. You know what I mean? It tries to stabilize and help. And that's something that doesn't happen everywhere. You know what I mean? That is not common. In where I'm from, that's not the way it is. You know what I mean? It's you're going to fight for yourself, and you're going to take what's yours, and you're going to win. And all of those words are very personal, very, very what I'm going to do. And I've had to learn to manage that. And because it's not really how I want to be, it's just what I knew. And so I think you really nailed something with it. It's community based. You know what I mean? It is part of this culture that in this area of Pennsylvania, that us really plays that big.
I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up. I mean, I think we could go on for a while about some of these, and we will address the other two. We'll get to the for you and the for them, and I think that tying them all together will help us tell that story, help people pull the pieces into place. And I look forward to those additional conversations. So thanks for joining us, folks. And I hope that you come back in the next week or week or two, or coming weeks here, to listen to the rest of the story. Thanks.